How many of you have heard the name Agnel before this, or those who don't know me? One, two.
In the agenda we saw you.
Okay, probably those who have, practically heard or known are from the coastal Arabian Sea or whatever, but generally people haven't heard this name, Agnel. It's Agnel. The reason I tell this is I've been called by various names. To begin with, it's Agnel, it's Ajmal, thankfully not Kasab, Adrian, Akmal, and the most favorite one is this. This is the most favorite one, Angel. Because if you type my name in WhatsApp or Word, it autocorrects itself. Now, what happens a lot many times, people are anticipating a beautiful angel or okay. And when I do, mostly the men are disappointed. Now, this happened once. I was to speak at an event in Delhi, representing my organization, and I walk in, and the host walks towards me, and I say, "Hey, hi, I'm Agnel from NIC Canada." She says, "But there was someone named as Angel who was supposed to come. What happened?" Now, I told, actually, Angel fell sick. But don't you worry, I'm here and I'll manage. She was still hesitant and she told, "Are you sure? Do you know the product well? Can you really speak for 30 minutes? I said, "Yes, don't you worry." And by then, her eyes went on to the badge that I had, Agnel Bharat. This is the same name in the email. Okay. So this is what happens with me mostly, a lot many times, and on an everyday basis, right from Uber cabs to the hotel side check-in to the flights I take to everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you probably begin a speech. If you observe, I did three things now. The first thing was I asked you a question. How many of you have heard the name Agnel? Now, what it did was you started to think. Those who had heard told, "Yes, we have." Those who haven't, "No, we haven't." Second thing was I narrated a anecdote or a short story kind of stuff. That got you engaged. The third thing was there was a bit of humor. All of you could smile, laugh. All those who were thinking, "Who is this Agnel who's going to come and give an education session to us?" now are relaxed. Okay, this guy is cool. Isn't it? These are generally how you break the ice, get to know the audience, or probably how you begin a speech. It is said Socrates, you know Socrates, right? Very wise Greek philosopher, and he used to go on giving advice. They finally poisoned him. Now, what I'm going to do here is not give you advice, but share my experiences with you, my journey in Toastmasters, and the next 25-30 minutes or so, probably share what I went through writing my speeches, what took me to the division, district, and how I enjoy doing this. I've been into the marketing profession for quite some time now, and I used to think that I'm a pretty decent speaker because this is what I do for a living, until I walked into a Toastmasters meeting 6 years ago. I realized I know nothing. I've got so much to learn, so much. And this 6 years of journey has been tremendous, been awesome. So for all those who have just joined Toastmasters, for those who have come on stage today giving you icebreakers, your first level of speech, you will see that this journey of Toastmasters will take you leaps and bounds. The first thing in crafting, today, if we discuss about crafting a speech, the first thing I get to hear from a lot of people is, what do you speak on? How to find the topic? That's the most, the highest number of questions are on this. How do I get a topic that I could speak on? I say, each one of us have been through childhood, So many stories, right? Siblings who spoke about siblings. You spoke really wonderful about joys, sorrows, and all those how it works. We have those experiences. You had experiences at school. You went to high school. You had your first crush. Went to college, probably the second crush. And then now a Toastmaster. And now all of you are working, married, traveling. So many things is what you do. The only difference is either you observe or you don't observe. You pay attention or you don't. Just today from morning, since you woke up, you had coffee, tea, breakfast, you traveled to office, so many things happen. You've worked today the entire day at office. If so many things happen, and now you are here at Toastmasters, in this meeting for the last half an hour, 45 minutes. So many things are happening. Probably you would have observed or not. So for me, when I write a speech or think of a speech, it is only the incidents that have happened in my life. Now, I have to tell you this is subject to conditions, asterisk mark, and all of that. Whatever I'm going to speak are not the standard fundamental rules of speech making or Toastmasters, but these are my experiences purely. So, may be true, may not be true for you, but very subjective. So, for me, primarily it is only my life stories because each one of us in our lives, we are our own hero, right? Each one of you in your own life. Today, whatever he spoke about what happened in his childhood and then, you have countless stories in your life. You just get them here and people will be able to relate to it. Last year, my speech was okay. Let me ask you, how many of you have taken Uber here or Ola? Almost everyone. And I'm sure all of you would have gone through some or the other horrible experiences. Yes. Last year, what happened? Got on at the Delhi airport, the flight landed. The first thing you do, obviously, airplane mode off, Uber, booked a cab, called up the driver. I'll meet you in 5 minutes at the Delhi police check post outside the Delhi airport. So 5 minutes I'm there. I call up the driver. He says, I am here at the Delhi police check post. I say, I cannot see you. He says, sir, the vehicle number 3648, please see. And I see. No, I cannot see you. Then he says, I'm waving my hand. Can you see me? I can't see. No, I cannot see you. Then I told, I am waving my hand. Can you see me? He again says, no, I cannot see you. And remember, this was in Delhi. So the driver, in the next 2 minutes, was a bit abusive. I cut the call and I was what all of you probably ever did. Cancel the cab, raise a complaint, book another cab. But then something struck me. And I felt if he is waving his hand, I am waving my hand, and we're not able to see you, definitely there's something wrong, isn't it? I called him again and I asked him, do you see the huge poster of Deepika Padukone in front of you? He said, no sir, I see Katrina Kaif. It means obviously we were in two different places. Yeah. Upon inquiring, I came to know that there are two Delhi police checkposts at the Delhi airport. So I walked almost 200 meters to the back. I saw him there. He was standing there, grumpy, irritated, angry. I looked at him and I smiled. He smiled back. As I reached closer, both of us had a hearty laugh, remembering Deepika and Katrina. As I was sitting in the cab, smiling to myself, I realized if at all we choose our responses every single time, life would be simply magical. That evening, when I was back, I was supposed to fly to Bangalore and it's a 3 hour flight. I remembered this incident, opened my laptop, wrote the entire speech. And this is where speeches come from. Probably all of you would have gone through similar experiences, but would have never thought of this can be a speech. The speech title was Color, Color, What Color? This is what I named the speech because a color is something, if you see this is blue in color, it doesn't mean this is blue. When light falls on it, it absorbs all the other colors and reflects blue. So whatever you reflect becomes your color. And that is what I meant. My point here is we have speeches all around us. I have actually my cell phone, I've got, all of you have notes, right? Notepad or whatever. So every time something happens, something funny, small, big, I make a note of it. And there have been times when I had enough time, remembered all the incidents in my life, and I make a note of it. So if I have to write a speech, I go to my notes, I go to the stories of my life, and a speech pops up. And all the speeches that I have delivered or so far, every speech will have 3 or 4 incidents of my life, and there you have your speech. So if you go back and do a bit of your homework, probably you will never ever have to wait and think, what speech do I write? The second thing, most important thing, is the OBC. Any speech for that matter, without the OBC, is not a speech for me. It is the Bible of speech making, or the fundamental basic rule of speech making. You have an opening, you have a body, you have a conclusion. Now the opening has to be with what I did now, what both the speakers did today. Asked a question, got you engaged. It could be a startling fact, it could be a story, it could be a joke, it could be anything. But as long as you are able to capture the audience's attention. Now what happens is, when you're with a friend on a one-to-one, they cannot help it. They have to keep looking at you. And they have to listen to you, right? And you are so full of energy if you have observed yourself. I was talking to a Toastmaster who was so nervous on stage and all of that. But when you are on a one-to-one, you're full of energy. You don't tremble, you don't shake. You've got wonderful eye contact. You've got all of that. So what changes when you come here? Suddenly you have the responsibility of having the attention of all these people. And how you do that? With a wonderful opening, you tell them what you're going to say, maybe with the humor, get the attention and all of that. Now you have the ground ready. You have the platform ready. And they are willing to listen to what you're going to say. That is what you do with the opening. You get their attention. But very important to sustain that momentum is in the body of the speech. Obviously, again for me it is 2 stories or 3 stories strung together with transitions and whatever. So the opening is say what you're going to say. The body is say it, whatever you wanted to say. And the conclusion finally is say what you have said. Now, what I mean by this is, if you have observed speeches, there are transitions. It is about one central idea altogether. Now, for example, you spoke about respect, you stuck to that, and the entire speech was about that. Many times, people deviate from that. So, for me, if I have a board or one sheet of paper, my speech starts in the center, exactly in the center of the page, and that is the central idea that you have in mind. If you can have a 7-minute speech or a 700 word speech in 5 words or 7 words, you have got it. Just imagine you have a multi-million, billion-dollar idea, and you get an investor in a lift, and he says, "You got 1 minute, boss. Sell me your idea." And if you're able to do that, you got it. Likewise, in a speech, a 7-minute speech, which generally comprises of 700 words, if you can summarize it in 5 to 8 words for yourself, forget about the audience, for yourself. This is what my speech is all about. For example, you got all these examples with you, right? Dhananjay's I see something in you, or Lance Miller's The Ultimate Question, or now latest the Champion Still Standing. That says it all, isn't it? So those tagline. When I told color, what color? Yeah, people go back thinking about color, reflect, and whatever. The previous speech, which was in the district, was I want to be you. That was a speech title, 5 words. But people go remembering, yeah, this guy told I want to be you, because that was all about it. So if you can get that tagline for your speech, which means you have that clarity in your speech, and that is what it means. So for me, uh, yes, there are 30, 40 variations of it when I write. It's not that you get these words just like that. Yeah, a lot of hard work goes into it. But if you are able to get that tagline, you have the sense of the speech. That is when you will not lose the track right from the opening to the body to the conclusion, because you know this is what you mean and this is what you have to say. How many of you watched the 2018 World Championship speech? Still standing. Yeah, yeah. Arlene was there when I was there at Delhi. Right? Three stories. All the three stories. She was still standing, still standing, still standing, and in the conclusion, still standing. It was clear. Only 2 words. I'm talking about 5 to 8 words, but she had only 2 words. Still standing. Jim Key, never too late. 2003, 4 world champion. So speeches, if you can get your speech, entire 7 minute speech in 5 to 8 words, you will have the clarity. Moving on, you have how much time do I have? 30, 35. Finally, I have something called the topics in a speech. Now, what I mean by topics is once I write a speech, it comes to about 1,500, 1,800 words also sometimes. Now the challenge is to get it to 700 words. If you have heard or observed great speeches, you will realize that they don't use long sentences. They use very short sentences. Probably 5 to 8 words is one sentence. Now, that is how you make a 1,800 word speech to 700 words. A lot of things are probably not necessary. And you cut down, come to 652, 700 words. A long story, he walked in and then I saw him and then he saw me. These things. Uh, Second important thing is the vocabulary that you use in your speech. Now, when I told you the driver, there he was, grumpy, irritated, angry. 3 words, but they meant a lot. Those who heard could visualize a picture of a guy angrily standing, grumpy, and whatever. Only 3 words. But it could convey the meaning to you in a very different visual way. I remember 15 years ago when I came to Bangalore. I come from a very small town. Raise your hands if you come from other than Bangalore, smaller towns or whatever. A lot of you, right? Now, though I studied in a convent school, my English medium school, when I came to Bangalore, I realized my language was pathetic. I used to speak like, are you going there? Are you coming there? The grammar was fine. The language, accent, vocabulary, only so many limited words. What do you do with that? And I met a guy, a 18-year-old guy, who was a voice trainer for a BPO. And I just watched him speak. Such impeccable English. And I was floored. The only aim in my life was I got to speak something like this. That week I purchased a dictionary. And I promised myself that every week I'm going to learn 5 new words. And that is when at Toastmasters meeting, when you squabble over smaller things, or you learn these words. I was at other meetings where I heard trepidation. I ensure that I use those words in my language whenever I speak. It enhances your vocabulary. Having said that, those who did not raise their hands, which means who are from Bangalore or from international schools, or who have got wonderful English, please make sure you don't use words like trepidation where people don't understand that in your speeches. So it's a very fine, thin balance of speaking to persuade, inform, motivate, where the objective is not to show off your English probably, but then to communicate, to ensure that whatever you intend to communicate reaches the other person. And that is the simplicity. And that is where the metaphors, the similes, alliterations, triads, you used wonderfully. You had three questions, one after the other, one after the other. And that is what it is. Simple yet powerful. That is how triads come. He came, he saw, he conquered. So for me now, by default, when I write speeches, I somehow get these words. He was angry, grumpy, irritated. Because that conveys. That's as a matter of practice. So for you, once you start writing speeches, having these words, simple yet very powerful. That helps a lot. This is about the language. Now, I wanted to talk to you only about the crafting of a speech. But I think the delivery aspect, on a very brief note, I've got about 5 8 minutes. Okay. Then I'll use the next 10 minutes probably. Because a lot many places you don't get this time to work on the delivery part also, which is very essential, I feel, because once you are done with the crafting of your speech, if you are the most important element is the delivery part of it. Once you are here, how do you use this stage? The first thing is usage of the stage. Now, mostly the audience is here. So it wouldn't make sense for me just to walk for the sake of walking up to here and talk to you. Somebody told use the stage. That doesn't mean I want to walk up to here. But if I could ensure that I am visible to everyone, two, I still remember at one of my division level speeches, there was an anonymous kind judge who wrote some notes and gave it to me and told, you have unnecessary moments on the stage. And that is where I have tried to ensure that I don't do that. And at Toastmasters, all of you know, evaluators help you do that. One of my evaluators had told me, Agnel, you stand like this. One of my shoulders, you droop down like Amitabh Bachchan. I never knew this for almost 2 3 years in Toastmasters. And one of the speeches he told, and I started observing my videos, yes, I actually stood like this. So these are some simple things which you avoid with the help of your evaluators or videos taken of your speeches probably. Then is the body language. If you have observed a lot of the speakers who came today on stage, unconsciously, subconsciously, I don't know how, but clasped your hands without you knowing why. You know, all of those, probably all of you are software engineers, I know, but if you have studied a bit of electrical, you'll know. What happens when you do this is you close the circuit. Yeah? When you stand like this, you are actually vulnerable. You're open to the audience. You're telling the audience, yes, I am open and we are okay to go. But the moment you do this, you're telling them, no, I am a different entity. You are not a part of me. This is me and this is what I want to tell you. Most of us, a lot of us tend to do this when you are on stage because this controls your body movements, all the restlessness, all the whatever you have, right? But the moment you do this, you are vulnerable, you're open. So please make sure once you are here, this could help trying this. The other thing is eye contact. How many of you feel here in the audience now that I would have seen most of you till now? Right? Now, how do you do this? It's not magic. It's not whatever. People talk about looking at V or W shape or whatever. I feel if you are sincere about the intention of your speech, you will make sure you reach out to everyone in the audience, and that make sure that they are listening to you and you are able to actually communicate to them. So you don't have to actually make an attempt, because once you're comfortable here, you you are communicating with them. The other most important aspect of public speaking, what people always talk about, is you're nervous, obviously, when you're on stage. I always tell this that there are basically two types of speakers. One, those who are nervous. Two, those who are liars. Now that means everyone who comes on stage is nervous in their own way. It could be a bit of anxiousness, stress, nervousness. Even if you're confident, am I doing it right? Whatever I intend to say, is it reaching out there or not? Because audiences change, people change. There are so many factors, right? And that is where I feel Toastmasters is the only platform which, if you're so comfortable with your friends, even in a group, you are joking and you're laughing and you're jumping, right? Because you know them. If you keep coming here often on the stage, you know the stage. People might change, but you know the stage. For me, I'm not sure, but probably 1,000+ times is what I've come on stage regularly. So even if the people are new, I've come here so many times that it's not that I don't feel nervous, but the sense is different. Your hands, legs have no more trembling. You don't have those shivers. Your throat is not going dry. And it is only Toastmasters, every meeting, that gives you that opportunity. Come back here again and again, and do your show. Because ultimately, this is a performance. Speech is a performance. You've got to treat it like one. All these nuances that I do, or in a speech that I do, are well thought actions developed over a period of time with practice. It isn't that the pauses, the eye contacts, or whatever is done has just come by itself. When I tell you, I still have some of my friends who are not in marketing, who are in accounts, finance, my classmates rather, still speak, are you coming here? And are you going here? And I realized that it has taken a lot of effort and hard work that I'm able to speak at least acceptable English, which is moderate. I wouldn't say impeccable or fine with an English accent or whatever, but I think considerably good. So this has taken a lot of hard work to come here, do this, and because it's my profession, I got to do it. The most important element after crafting a speech, after delivering it, which I did see in Arlene, you, all the four of you came on stage, and even you. Oh, no, I thought Yesenia was here, right? Is the moment they were on stage, I'm not sure if you observed, they smiled. So you smiled on stage. Now, what a smile does to you is, see, the mind is, the brain is a powerful instrument, right? You know. It starts functioning the moment you're born and does not stop until you start to speak in public. Now, how do you fool the brain? Now, the moment you are in panic or the moment some nervous situation is there, your body starts trembling, you are nervous, you are pale. If somebody is nervous, obviously their face turns pale. Now, the moment, irrespective of all these actions happening inside, if you smile, the brain is confused. What's happening? No, at this time you're supposed to panic. You're supposed to look pale. But if you smile, it sends certain signals to the brain telling, okay, it appears this is a cool situation. Nothing to panic. That's fine. Suddenly, so there are these confusing things. And that gets the game for you. I think these are small things over a period of time which you develop, pick, and learn that is on the journey to become a great speaker. So, yeah, this is what I have to say. If you have questions, please.
So, regarding speech crafting, how do you conclude and connect all the previous messages?
The conclusion is the most important element which I probably missed in the flow of talking. You say what you have said, reiterate what you have said, because in the end, the entire audience is going to take home only that message, what you say in conclusion, connecting it with what you have said earlier. Most the other element is you connect it with them. Say you have told a story, for example, still standing, or I see something in your any of these speeches. You will see that immediately they get it. They get it connected to your office, your family life, your personal life, you in total. So how is that speech related to you? That is how you conclude. For example, I had the speech, I want to be you. The bottom line was everyone wants to be somebody, but who wants to be you? You've never thought about that, isn't it? I want to be like Abdul Kalam. I want to be like Narayan Murthy. You are at Infosys, probably. So, but have you ever thought who wants to be Arlene? Who wants to be Guru? No, isn't it? So I concluded the speech by telling probably it's your sibling at your home watching you. What you're doing. Probably at Toastmasters is the fellow Toastmasters watching Arlene every week come. I want to be like Arlene. Maybe you haven't observed or sensed, but so you connect with them. Generally, this is again what I do, very subjective. So when you connect with the audience, the message in their lives, in different phases of life, maybe they take home. Yeah, at my home, who wants to be like me? Right? In my office, is anybody thinking that they want to be like me? Maybe not. Or yes. Or then you got to be one. So things like that. Have I answered to extent?
Hello, this is Nicholas. I am in Toastmaster from last 3 years, and I have been to many speech craft program and other. I have went and saw many accomplished speakers speaking. So, what I have observed so far that how is it possible for accomplished speaker to tell same story again and again and deliver it perfectly? So they have one unique story that they will tell you again. And whenever they will go and they will tell you the same story, how they started, how they achieved the same thing. How they are managing to tell the same story again and again. Even the last year champion, he repeated the previous year's speech similar way. How can I learn the same craft in me? I want to do the same.
One thing I remember from
Maybe adding to the point which Nikhilesh has said, the thing is, when I do the speech, every time the speech is different. It's not the same. So how to deliver the thing which we wanted to deliver?
yeah, I all of you are Toastmasters, so you understand CC1, CC2, CC3, 4, 5, 6. For me, till CC6, this is the fundamental rule. If I hear any speech, I look at these 6 things, or 5 things basically, from CC2 till CC6. If these things are there in the speech, that's a speech for me. Having said that, I heard, I think Randy Harvey at 2013 or 14 conference, the world champion, he told one thing. You can actually deliver the same speech from CC2 till CC10. The same speech. But incorporating at the CC4 probably the play of words, body language, the voice modulations, tone, emphasizing on that. But the same speech. It is possible. So the point is for you to know how to deliver the perfect speech. If you can have CC2 to CC6, know for sure that you got it. If you have organized your speech, got it into pieces, because for me, I haven't seen anywhere, being a public speaker, being in this profession for so long, 15 odd years into marketing. This is what I do for a living. I got to go and speak in front of audiences of 800, and this is what I was doing. I haven't seen anywhere else where you can actually, there's a framed Bible telling this is what you do, your 10 commandments, and you got it. So for me, I see it in Toastmasters. I'm not very familiar with the pathways now, but what I've seen with CC to CC6, 1 to 6, is awesome. If you are able to do that in your speeches, so for evaluations also, I generally tell people is evaluate for that particular project. If it is a CC4, is CC4 about words? How to say, right? about the words, metaphors, and similes. So the same speech you can have so many similes, triads, and metaphors, and all of that alliterations put together. That speech will be for project 4, and then your voice and modulation, and then for the body language that you do. So the same speech can be done in so many other ways, emphasizing on those particular projects. So for you, to answer your question of Manoj Vasudevan, I might not fully agree with that of delivering the same speech again. I would say economics of creativity. If Because for me, speech making is a lot about my life. If I'm the same what I was last year, I haven't moved. I'm sorry, don't mean disrespect to anyone, but for me that is how it is. If in the last 1 year there isn't anything that has happened in my life which I've got to can share with you. One of the aspects of speech making for me is I still remember at one of the division after one of the division speeches I lost, and at that time I was heartbroken. This is not happening, man. It cannot be that 3 times, 4 times I've come to the division and I'm losing it. I was at a bank, ICICI Bank to be precise, and I finished my work and I was coming out. There were 3 guys who walked up to me. They told, "We heard your speech yesterday, 2, 3 days ago at the conference." I told, "Yeah, it was wonderful." I told, "Thank you." But then one of the guys told me, "After listening to your speech in the evening, I actually called up my mom and I told, 'I love your mom.'" That was so touching for me that I felt it's not for anything else. Probably if I am capable of delivering one message which can touch out of this 50 people, one person, and they go home with that stuff, probably it is worth it. So, for you, that's why I told you, each one of us is a hero in your life, isn't it? There are so many things that are happening, so many things you cannot imagine. You just start paying attention, you will realize so many things happening in your life. What Toastmasters has done to me is made me start looking at life with a little bit more attention to everything that happens. If I'm driving, traffic, so that happens with all of you, right? You would have watched so many fights happening in traffic, so many things happening at your home, in the office. How much of attention do you pay? So for me, Toastmasters has done that. Look at life probably a bit more closely. Any other questions?
Yes. I have recently joined. This is my first meeting as Toastmaster. So my question is that when you write a speech, prepare a speech, do you try to speak that verbatim on the stage or do you improvise?
Mostly I do verbatim, because if I have like I can tell you I had 653 words. Okay, to be that precise. The only reason is a lot many speakers, real good speakers also sometimes lose out because of time. I have not lost a contest till date because of time. In fact, my mentor, I've learned most of speech crafting only from him. He lost twice on time because he used to do a lot of improvising. Having said that, he taught me to do that also. That is the reason I have about 650 words in my speech, so that I can go to 750 words by improvising on stage. But that is well rehearsed, well prepared. I listen to the speeches that have done before me, look at this situation. Probably I know I can come up with another 100 words, but I try to minimize with 30, 40 words extra that I can come up with if required, or with limited pauses, ensure that I do my 6:37 minutes. But yes, it is verbatim. I write. That's why when I told you I write 1,800 words, pull it to 650 words, 700 words. There's a lot of work that goes into that.
But would not that be a little more mechanical when you deliver like that?
Yes, I understand. That is why I told you I leave that gap. Again, when you say mechanical, I used to feel that with some of my speeches, but I think with the audience and having all these things in place, connecting things, I think even my 110th rehearsal used to look natural. I've done so many, but yes, when you improvise on the stage, because connecting with the audience is a different ball game altogether. It's That's why I told you speech craft speech is one. The reason I spoke about 10 minutes on delivery is a different thing altogether. You looking at them, the pauses and all of that cannot be rehearsed. I was telling Rohit, when you have a stage like this, an audience like this, it's very different. If there was an audience straight and it was this, even my energies would be lower. But when you have a stage this big, audience spread out, you feel that. And that cannot be rehearsed. It would come naturally. Again, I need to repeat this. Please don't take all of the things that I've told you verbatim. It is very subjective. Something that has worked for me, not necessarily for you. So try out. See if that works out for you. See if writing a speech, topics, doing all of this, coming on stage, experimenting. See what works for you. Because what I've told you is not written anywhere. You will not find it anywhere on the internet or any book or anything. These are my personal experiences. May or may not work for you. So choose wisely what you take from this.
Last question, Agnel. You talked about your mentor, and I probably mentored few speeches and all. One thing I want to ask you, as your personal experience, how does a mentor play a role in the crafting of a speech? Like it's more of you told about your own experience. What was the role of a mentor in helping a mentee or craft their speech properly to be delivered on stage?
Huge, huge. You might not understand this if I tell you. My mentor would change my entire speech without changing a word in that. I'm serious. Now that is the genius of my mentor. Let me tell you who my mentor is. Ajay Chittaranjan, if you have known, he's in the US now. But wonderful guy, wonderful guy. I've learned so much from him, so much that I cannot really express. A lot of gratitude for him. He's taught me a lot, many things because after 3 times coming to the division and I was, though lot many things were there. Now, what a mentor does to you is you tell a narrate a story, and the only thing he says is, "Don't you think the story looks like this? Can you come up with a new story?" So I write my again entire story, and then you get into that many words. Now, for example, I had for that speech, I want to be you. For example, the opening line was, I was playing with the kids in the family a game called as Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. He told, can you, that who wants to be a millionaire, can you take it in the beginning? No words changed. Just front and, that way. I said, okay, so who wants to be a millionaire? Now, we had about 20 rehearsals for this one line of how it can be told. Who wants to be a millionaire? Who wants to be a millionaire? 20 versions of this one line. And finally, we got one line that will work where at the opening of the speech, I say, who wants to be a millionaire? And there were several hands. And then I had a pause and I told, was the game that we played. So this was the first line that I did. So my mentor did this. I could not fathom or even imagine that same line can be done this way. So I think mentor plays a major part. In fact, after some time while mentoring this speech, my wife actually had a doubt. Is there something going on between these guys? Generally, he still jokes about it because that was the kind of commitment that my mentor was. He would turn us ready. Come on, that way. So, but I think he also gave me the space to own up my speech because I know he did everything, but it was my speech and I did everything. So that's a genius. That is actually a genius of somebody to make sure I learn it, I do it, I write my speech, I write every word in that, but look at it from a different perspective and tell maybe this, maybe that. So that's all a mentor does basically. Because if you spoon feed your mentee, then they will never learn. They would never move on to the next level. But you push them so hard with 20 versions, with 40 versions that they learn. I think that is how a mentor, for me, again, very subjective. Yes. So thank you so much. Thank you very much. I know to Infosys 17 years, 681 meetings. I've known and admired Rohit so much. Mr. Bansal, Toastmaster Bansal from here, Kirti Kumar is anyway always supporting. And then Rithun, right? So I was telling stalwarts of Infosys. It's an honor, it's a pleasure to be speaking in front of you, sharing some tips that I have experienced, definitely not advices. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you.